When a married woman is attracted to someone, the very first sign you'll notice isn't always physical, it's emotional. And that's what makes it so powerful, because emotions are much harder to disguise than simple actions. A woman who is already committed in her marriage is not supposed to be investing her emotions into another man, but when she does, it becomes visible through the way she pays you unusual emotional attention. Now, at first glance, you may brush it off as just kindness or friendliness. But if you start paying attention, you'll realize it's much deeper than that. She begins to listen to you in a way that goes beyond casual conversation. She's not just hearing your words, she's absorbing them, remembering details, and circling back to them later as if she wants to prove to you that your words matter. Think about this carefully. Most people don't take note of the small things others say, but when she's emotionally drawn to you, she'll remember. If you mention that you had a tough day at work, days later, she'll bring it up and ask how things are going now. If you casually share that you're working on a personal goal, she'll remind you to keep going or ask for updates. This kind of attentiveness is not random. It's a subtle way of showing you that you hold a special place in her thoughts. That is not normal friendly behavior. That is emotional investment. And here's where the difference lies. A married woman who is simply being polite won't go out of her way to check in on you. She won't send that unexpected message late at night just to ask if you're doing okay. She won't prioritize remembering your struggles or victories. But when she's attracted, her energy flows towards you. Suddenly, she's the one who notices when you're quieter than usual. She's the one who picks up on your mood shifts even when you try to hide them. And she doesn't just notice, she reacts, she asks, she checks, she offers comfort, she gives reassurance. That emotional attention becomes consistent. And consistency is the biggest giveaway. Now, let me tell you something important. Women are naturally nurturing, yes, but when a married woman directs that nurturing energy specifically and repeatedly towards you, it's not casual, it's intentional. She might disguise it under the label of friendship, but the truth is she's drawn to you in a way that makes her want to invest emotionally. And remember, for women, emotional attraction often precedes physical attraction. It's the seed before the blossom. You might notice her asking questions no one else does. Questions like, how are you really feeling? Or what's been on your mind lately? These are not surface level questions. They're an attempt to connect with you on a deeper level, to make you open up, because she wants that space in your life. She wants to be the person you confide in. And when she gives you that kind of space, it usually comes at the expense of the one she's supposed to be emotionally loyal to, her husband. That's the weight of this signal. Another way this emotional attention shows is in how she reacts to your struggles. She might give you advice, she might encourage you, or she might even defend you in front of others. Have you noticed how someone can step into conversations and almost instinctively take your side? That is emotional loyalty being directed at you, not just friendliness. She begins to prioritize your perspective, your comfort, your happiness, even in subtle ways. And when that happens, it's clear she's not just paying attention, she's investing. And here's the subtle but undeniable truth. When someone invests emotionally, they're already attached. They may not admit it, they may not act on it, but the attraction has already taken root. A married woman who checks in on you repeatedly, who remembers your words, who gives you comfort without you even asking, she's showing you a sign, whether she intends to or not. Now, it's important to be wise about how you interpret these signs. Don't mistake every kind gesture for attraction, but also don't ignore when the gestures go beyond what's natural. When her attention feels unusual, when it feels persistent, when it feels like she's stepping into a role that doesn't belong to her, that's when you know it's more than friendship. Because at the end of the day, attraction in this form doesn't shout, it whispers. It whispers in the way she remembers, in the way she checks on you, in the way she cares more than she should. And once you notice it, you can't unsee it. That emotional attention is the first and most telling sign that her heart is leaning towards you. When it comes to attraction, words may hide the truth, but the body rarely does. If a married woman feels drawn to you, her body language will begin to reveal it in ways that are subtle but undeniable. These are not the loud, exaggerated moves you might see in a flirtatious teenager. Instead, they are quiet signals, the kind that slip through when her guard is down, the kind that she may not even be consciously aware of. And once you know how to recognize them, you'll start noticing that her actions say far more than her words ever could. One of the first signs is prolonged eye contact. We all make eye contact in normal conversation, but when someone is attracted, they hold it just a little longer than necessary. It's not the quick glance of politeness. It's the steady gaze that lingers. almost as if she's trying to read more into you than your words are offering. If you notice her locking eyes with you, then quickly looking away and smiling or fidgeting, that's not coincidence. That's her battling the line between what she feels and what she's supposed to hide. Eyes have a way of exposing the truth, and if her eyes keep searching for yours in a crowded room, it's a sign her attraction is at play. Then there are the small touches. A hand brushing yours when there's no real need, a playful nudge when she laughs at something you've said, a gentle tap on the shoulder to get your attention when she could have easily called out your name. These touches might seem accidental on the surface, but deep down they are deliberate. Human beings are wired to use touch as a form of connection, and when a married woman steps beyond the boundary of necessary contact, it speaks volumes. She's finding excuses, no matter how subtle, to close the gap between you. You may also notice her posture shifting around you. A woman who is attracted leans in closer when you speak, even if she could hear you just fine from a distance. She positions her body toward you in group settings, even if others are speaking. And she may unconsciously mirror your movements, crossing her legs when you cross yours, adjusting her hair when you do something with your hands, tilting her head the same way you do. This mirroring is not something most people are aware of, but it's a natural psychological response to attraction. It's her way of saying, without words, I'm in sync with you. Playful teasing is another form of body language that reveals interest. It might show up in the way she makes lighthearted jokes with you, nudges you with a smile, or laughs more at your humor than she does with others. When attraction is involved, her laughter becomes softer, warmer, and more frequent. And pay attention, if her laughter lingers just a little longer when it's you making the joke, that's not random. It's a reflection of the joy she feels in your presence. Then comes the undeniable sign of nervous energy. Attraction creates tension, and tension often spills out in small, restless movements. She may play with her hair while talking to you, adjust her clothes even when they don't need adjusting, or fidget with objects in her hands. These small behaviors reveal that she's hyper-aware of herself in your presence, and that awareness only comes when you matter more than you should. A married woman who feels neutral around you won't display these behaviors, but one who's drawn to you will, because her attraction unsettles her in ways she cannot hide. And perhaps the most telling of all is her smile, not the polite, formal smile she gives to others, but the genuine one, the one that reaches her eyes, the one that seems to light up her face when she looks at you. If you notice that her smile is different with you, warmer, softer, more frequent, it's a reflection of how you make her feel. Attraction creates a kind of energy that escapes through facial expressions, and the smile is its purest form. It's important to understand that body language doesn't lie. Even if she tries to suppress her feelings, her body will find ways to express them. The way she positions herself near you, the way her eyes linger, the way she finds excuses to touch, the nervous gestures, the mirroring, these are all quiet admissions of attraction. They might seem small in isolation, but when they start appearing together, they form a clear pattern that cannot be ignored. You see, attraction always has a way of making itself visible. A married woman may never put it into words. She may never directly admit it, but her body will whisper it in gestures, in looks, in subtle touches. And if you learn to recognize those whispers, you'll see the truth hidden beneath her silence. When a married woman is truly attracted to someone, one of the most obvious signals you'll notice is how she begins to prioritize you over others. And this is where things start to get very clear, because people will always make time for what matters to them. If she is constantly finding reasons to talk to you, to see you, or to stay connected with you, it's not by chance, it's by choice. Time is the most valuable resource any of us have. And when she starts giving hers to you in ways that go beyond normal interaction, it's a strong sign that her attraction is influencing her decisions. At first, it may seem innocent. She might just linger in conversation a little longer than necessary. Maybe she texts you about something small, something that could have easily been ignored, but she chooses to reach out anyway. She may tell you about her day, ask about yours, or bring up something random just to keep the dialogue alive. That consistency is important to notice, because people don't create constant reasons to connect with someone unless they want to maintain that bond. You'll also notice how she starts to adjust her schedule around you. Maybe she knows when you'll be at a certain place, and suddenly she's there too. Maybe she finds excuses to call you at certain times when she knows you'll be available. Or perhaps she stays longer than she should, dragging out the time you spend together, even when she has other responsibilities waiting. That's not coincidence. That's her way of prioritizing you, making sure she doesn't miss the chance to be around you. Another powerful sign is when she starts initiating contact. Married women who are not attracted will rarely, if ever, be the ones to make the first move in conversation. They will respond, but they won't reach out unnecessarily. But when she is drawn to you, you'll see her initiating more and more. Whether it's a quick, how's your day going? Message or a random call just to say something trivial, she's showing you that you're on her mind. Think about it. If she didn't care, she wouldn't take that step, especially knowing the risks. Attraction makes her take those risks because the desire to connect becomes stronger than the need to play it safe. And then there are the moments where she chooses you over others. Maybe she cancels or delays other plans just to spend time with you. Maybe she steps away from group conversations to have a one-on-one with you. Or maybe she's more responsive to your texts than she is to anyone else's, replying faster, engaging more, giving you a level of attention that feels different. These are subtle shifts, but they reveal where her energy is flowing. When a married woman starts prioritizing your presence, your words, your time, she is showing you that in her mind. You're standing in a place no one else occupies. You'll also sense this in the way she creates opportunities. Instead of waiting for chance encounters, she looks for ways to make them happen. She may suggest grabbing coffee, walking together, or working on something with you, even if it's unnecessary. These are intentional efforts, and you'll see it in how she reacts when you're unavailable. If you're too busy for her, does she seem disappointed? Does she try to reschedule? That reaction alone tells you how much she values being around you. It's also important to notice how she treats your time compared to hers. A married woman who is not attracted will keep clear boundaries. Her schedule is hers. Her time is for her family. But when she is interested, she bends those boundaries. She stays up later to talk to you. She makes room in her day to see you. She chooses your company even when it complicates her routine. That is not casual. It's deliberate. And here's the deeper truth. Attraction doesn't just show in words or gestures. It shows in priorities. What she chooses to sacrifice, who she chooses to make time for, where she chooses to place her energy. These are the clearest signs of where her heart is leaning. Because at the end of the day, people don't prioritize what doesn't matter. They only make room for the people they secretly want closer. So when you notice that she's consistently choosing you, giving you her time, rearranging her world just to stay connected, understand that it's not accidental. It's her attraction speaking louder than her logic. And once she starts prioritizing you, everything else becomes secondary. One of the clearest signals that a married woman is attracted to you is when she begins to break the natural boundaries that usually exist in such situations. Normally, a woman who is committed will protect her privacy, guard her emotions, and maintain a certain distance when it comes to another man. But when she starts allowing you into spaces that are supposed to be off limits, that's when you know something deeper is happening. Attraction has a way of lowering defenses, and the very first cracks usually appear in what she chooses to share with you. You may notice her opening up about personal details she doesn't need to. At first, it might seem harmless. She may casually mention small things about her life at home, her frustrations, or her feelings in a way that feels more intimate than usual. But with time, these details grow deeper. She starts to share struggles, disappointments, or emotions that she hasn't voiced to anyone else. And you'll realize that she's slowly inviting you into her private world. When a married woman allows another man that kind of access, it's not simply because she wants someone to talk to. It's because she feels a connection, one strong enough to cross the invisible line she should be keeping intact. Think about how rare this is. Most people, especially those in committed relationships, are careful about what they reveal. They keep the sensitive parts of their lives reserved for their spouse or for very close family. But when she begins to tell you about her marriage, about her feelings of being misunderstood, about her fears or her dreams, she's giving you a role that doesn't belong to you. She's breaking boundaries because her attraction to you is making her trust you with things she shouldn't. And it doesn't stop at words. Boundaries also get blurred in behavior. Maybe she spends more time with you in private settings than she should. Maybe she allows conversations to linger late into the night, knowing that those moments are intimate in their own way. Or maybe she begins to seek your advice on issues that she should technically be discussing with her partner. All of this points to one thing: she's transferring emotional weight from her marriage onto you. And that transfer only happens when attraction is pulling her closer. Sometimes the breaking of boundaries comes through humor or subtle flirting. She might make comments that suggest she's comfortable being a little more playful or daring with you. She might use words or jokes that blur the lines between friendship and something more. On the surface, it may feel lighthearted, but underneath, it reveals that she no longer sees you only as a friend. She's testing the waters, stepping past the safe zone, and letting her attraction dictate the tone of her interactions. Another layer of this is the way she gives you exclusivity. Have you noticed that she tells you things in confidence with the phrase, "Don't tell anyone," or that she makes you feel like you're the only one she can really talk to about certain topics? That kind of exclusivity is a clear breach of normal boundaries. It means she's elevating you into a role of emotional significance, a role that surpasses that of ordinary companionship. And the truth is, once boundaries start to break, attraction becomes harder to hide. Every time she shares more than she should, every time she spends time in ways she wouldn't with anyone else, every time she crosses a line and then looks at you to see your reaction, she's silently revealing her feelings. She may not admit it openly, but her actions betray her. Now, it's very important to notice the weight of this sign, because words can be polite and body language can sometimes be misread. But when a married woman begins to break boundaries, it's deliberate. It means she is willingly stepping away from the lines that should protect her relationship, and she's doing it for you. That level of openness, of trust, of personal sharing, none of it happens by accident. It happens because her attraction is strong enough to override her caution. And here's the part many overlook: once boundaries are broken, it becomes easier for her to keep pushing them further. What starts as sharing personal feelings can lead to spending more private time together. What begins as a small joke can lead to bolder flirting. Attraction doesn't stay contained once it's allowed to cross into forbidden territory. That's why this sign is so powerful, because it tells you not just what she feels now, but where things could be headed if she continues to let her emotions guide her choices. So when you notice a married woman crossing lines, confiding in you, opening doors she should be keeping closed, understand what's really happening. She's breaking boundaries, and that's not a casual act. It's attraction making itself known in the clearest way possible. One of the strongest and most undeniable signs of attraction from a married woman is jealousy. It may not always be loud. It may not always be obvious, but if you pay close attention, you'll see it in the way she reacts, when your attention shifts away from her. Normally, jealousy is something that belongs within the boundaries of a relationship, something a wife may feel toward her husband if his attention drifts elsewhere. But when she starts displaying that same emotion toward you, it means you've taken a place in her mind and heart that you were never supposed to occupy. And that is one of the clearest signals of her attraction. You might notice it first in subtle comments. Perhaps you're talking to another woman and she suddenly finds a reason to cut into the conversation, or maybe she jokingly teases you about how much time you spend with someone else, framing it as lighthearted, but underneath there's a genuine discomfort. These small remarks often reveal far more than she intends. Attraction has a way of stirring emotions she doesn't want to admit, and jealousy is one of those emotions that's nearly impossible to hide. Sometimes it won't even be words, it will be her energy. Pay attention to how her mood changes when another woman has your attention. Does she become quieter, more distant, less warm than usual? Or does she try harder to bring the spotlight back to herself by laughing louder, talking more, or pulling you into a separate conversation? These are instinctive reactions. She may not even realize she's doing them, but they happen because she feels threatened by the idea of you giving someone else what she wants from you. Another way jealousy shows is through her questions. She might casually ask you were texting or where you went when you weren't available. She may inquire about other women in your life in a way that seems innocent, but you can sense the curiosity is more than casual. A married woman who is neutral toward you has no reason to care about where your attention goes. But when she's attracted, she wants to know because every detail reassures or unsettles her. And that desire to know comes from a place of attachment. You may also notice her going out of her way to compete for your attention. If you're in a group and someone else is talking to you, she finds ways to redirect the conversation so you're engaging with her instead. If another woman compliments you, she may quickly add her own, as though she wants to make sure her voice is not forgotten. Even small acts like laughing more at your jokes when others are around or suddenly bring up shared memories are ways of reinforcing her closeness to you in the face of perceived competition. That's jealousy manifesting as protective behavior. And it's important to understand that jealousy doesn't always come out as negativity. Sometimes it comes out as overcompensation. She may act extra cheerful or overly supportive when she sees you talking to someone else, but the intensity of it feels unnatural, almost as though she's putting on a show. That's because she wants to mask her discomfort, but her need to prove that she's unaffected ends up giving her feelings away. The truth is, jealousy is not something that can be faked or controlled easily. It comes from a place of emotional possession, from feeling like you belong to her in some unspoken way. And that's what makes this sign so powerful. When a married woman shows jealousy over you, she is admitting without words that she values your attention enough to fear losing it. That is not friendship. That is not casual interaction. That is attraction spilling over into emotion. What makes this even more significant is that jealousy often leads to protective behavior. She might warn you about certain women, suggesting they're not good for you. She might act as though she's looking out for you, but the truth is she's protecting her place in your life. She doesn't want anyone else to replace her role, even though technically shouldn't have that role at all. This protective instinct is yet another way her attraction exposes itself. The deeper truth is that jealousy is one of the hardest emotions to disguise, and that's why it's such a clear giveaway. A woman may be able to control her words. She may even control her body language. But when another woman enters the picture, her real feelings surface, whether it's through a shift in tone, a sudden question, a cold silence, or an overly bright smile, you will notice the change. That change is the mark of jealousy, and jealousy is the mark of attraction. So when you see her becoming unsettled by where your attention goes, when you notice her competing, questioning, or protecting, don't ignore it. Jealousy is never random. It always points to care, to attachment, and to a desire for exclusivity. And in her case, it points to the undeniable truth that she is attracted to you.